Your third stimulus package and that third stimulus check will go to a vote in the House of Representatives next week, Nancy Pelosi now confirms. This is an incredible turnaround from less than 48 hours ago when we were told we have to wait a couple of weeks to get this done. Now it's a couple of days. What a big change. But in this video, I'm going to go over what Joe Biden said, that the deal provisions are still up for negotiation. Wow. So what items need to be modified? Which items make no sense? Which items need to go in and which items need to go out? Meantime, which items are actually not even under consideration, despite some fake narratives across some broadcast channels? I have all the incredible details as we suddenly see the finish line in front of us. Hazard pay, rent, utilities, SSI, SSDI, EIDL, or some type of business grant or some type of business loan, stimulus check, and that FPUC. So much to go over, and this is Mornings LALATE. Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Mornings LALATE, the 6:30 edition. I'm so glad you joined me on a big day in which we've finally seen progress. You know, it was 48 hours ago, yesterday in the morning. We still had not seen the bill. We didn't think there was anything going on. Joe said, Uncle Joe said, hey, we'll be getting to this in a couple of weeks. We won't know whether we have an agreement for a couple of weeks. Uncle Joe's press secretary said, hey, we will see whether we have some progress in a couple of weeks. We are seeing this expression, a couple of weeks, mentioned a couple of times. You didn't like it. I didn't like it. Purple Power didn't like it. The followers of this channel, Purple Power didn't like it. And you stepped up, hit social media very loud, and it changed everything. By the end of yesterday, finally, the progress had been made. In this video, I explain while the bill is currently in the House to get finalized and called for a vote early next week, I'm going to go over why there's still room to make changes in the bill. So please subscribe. Followers of this channel do more than you can ever imagine as pushing louder and vocal. We don't sit back and let other people determine our fate. We make fate. We determine destiny right here. And the stimulus that you're owed is the stimulus we push for. Meantime, if you also not like this video, consider liking it and hit that alert button so you get alert when I next have a video, which will be at 8:30 a.m. with Mornings LALATE, a big update across the board on stimulus and everything happening on your stimulus. Meantime, if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Click the member link in this video to join as a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Casino VIP. Over on the side there, you'll see a bunch of people chatting. This is an instant premiere. And as an instant premiere, you can interact with your Purple Power buddies and talk about the social media campaigns you'll be doing today, like FPUC Retro, hashtag MSC, and hashtag SS200. And with that, I have so much to get to, so let's get right to it. I'll also be answering some of your 2020 questions from yesterday. Or was it 2032? I can't remember the exact number. From yesterday's video. If you have questions as well, drop them in the comments to this video, whether you're a member or non-member. I'll be answering them on air tomorrow as well. And with that, let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news is that the bill will go to a vote next week and could become law next week. How has this changed so quickly? It's changed because of you. Congressional leaders, whether it's Ro Khanna or whether it's Nancy Pelosi, saw this dragging on. Dragging and dragging for no reason. And ultimately, the point was that if you want to do a bill, do the bill and get it done. And that happened yesterday. Nancy Pelosi confirmed that the bill had been introduced to the House of Representatives. And in the House of Representatives, which is one of two bodies in Congress, the other one is the Senate, she sent it to her subcommittees. What are subcommittees? Subcommittees are committees that are designed to go over issues that they tackle, like a banking subcommittee or a labor subcommittee that deals with labor issues, or housing that deals with rental assistance, or our business subcommittee that deals with business grants and business loans. She asked for those business subcommittees to give their approval to the bill by the end of this week and vote their approval in favor of the bill by the end of this week. That means once that approval is effectuated by the end of the week, she said, Nancy Pelosi, that next week the bill will be completely ready for a vote in the House of Representatives to be passed in the House of Representatives. Moreover, that she's fast-tracked the bill. to get approval in the House of Representatives, passed in the House of Representatives next week. That means the bill would land in the Senate next week, and in the Senate, it could pass and land on the president's table the next day and become law. So with that, we also know that there are certain provisions of the third stimulus package that are not particularly where they should be. And Joe Biden said that this is all up for negotiations. Pelosi's subcommittee is looking at both numbers and language and numbers. And there's language and number issues that are really ripe for us to talk about. And that's what I'm getting to right now in this video. Let's go over some of the language issues. The most obvious language issue you're going to hear me say right off the bat, you know you're expecting to hear this from me, is hazard pay should not be written like the HEROES Act of 2020. Nancy Pelosi's HEROES Act of 2020 was great for hazard pay on numbers, $10,000, $13 an hour, based upon number of hours you work, whether you're part-time or full-time. It was all perfect until you got to who and how do you apply. Nancy had the boss apply, not you. That has to change. The pandemic has been raging on. A lot of these bosses are gone. The businesses are gone. But you worked during the pandemic. So you are entitled to this hazard pay. It also should ensure that you're paid from any hazard pay activity from January 2020 to the present. Yes, it should be retro. It shouldn't just be hazard pay going forward, because a lot of businesses are gone now. And a lot of people really risk their lives through all of 2020. You don't want to see just hazard pay for a few months while the pandemic is wrapping up between now and the end and now in the late summer. You want hazard pay for people who worked before in hazard pay environment. Next, business grants and business loans. This is a big issue that needs to be really flushed out. First, the business grants. You want to ensure that the business grant is not going to exclude people based upon prior business grants. There have been PPPs, there have been EIDLs, and you don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear the bill say something like, "Well, if you got a $1,000 EIDL grant, you can't get a $50,000 business grant under this." That wouldn't be fair. Wouldn't be fair. Second, there's different ways to deal with business grants. And Pelosi's HEROES Act had a lot of different business grants. You've heard me talk about them before. There was the CDC grant. There was the Lifeline grant. Some of the grants were based upon how much activity you had. There are two different ways to do a business grant. Either it's the same number for everyone, or the number is tied to something. Now, this is a big issue. Ultimately, if the number is tied to a year in which you weren't making a lot of money, you're not going to get a lot of big grants. Same thing with business loans. When we turn to business loans, we would hope that the instrument that Joe Biden creates, because it's going to be a new instrument, it's not going to be PPP, does not preclude you or exclude you based upon a credit score, based upon lack of liquidity or lack of collateral. You should hope that the business loan can be just written for anyone that promises to pay it back. It's as simple as that. When we look at the stimulus check, there's problems with the stimulus check, and you know what I'm about to say. This ain't any surprise to anyone. $1,400 a stimulus check? No, it should be $3,400. Adult dependents, $3,200 stimulus check? No, it should be $5,200. Why? You know why. Fall of last year, they were working on a bill. It ultimately was the second stimulus package bill. And when they got to finalize it, they couldn't get it to the finish line. So then we started CR for stimulus, to put stimulus in the CR continuing resolution. They did it with no stimulus check. And then we said, wait a second. And then they said, okay, we'll give you $600. And we said, what? But they ultimately made it to a bill and then to a law. And it was signed into law, $600 stimulus check. We continue to say, what are you talking about, $600 stimulus check? That's nothing. And other congressional leaders agreed. So they created something called the Cash Act to say, hey, $600 ain't nothing. Let's fix and give them a remainder of that $2,000, which is an additional $1,400 on top of $600. That's $1,400 on top of $600 to bring them $2,000. Give it to them right now in December, and we call it a day. And then when Joe comes in, he figures out what he wants to do with the situation. Well, they couldn't get it done. And when they couldn't get it done, Chuck Schumer said, oh, you know what? Just throw it in Joe's bill, Uncle Joe's bill. He's going to be giving you a stimulus check as well. So he's going to give you $2,000 stimulus check. And you can just throw in that thing left over from last year. They'll fix it as well. Well, when Joe got the bill, he left that fixed thing in there from 2020, but he took out his own stimulus check. So suddenly the $2,000 stimulus check that he promised you is gone. Not fair. Warnock and Ossoff, those Democratic senators from Georgia, they ran on a platform to say, hey, you elect us, we'll give you a $2,000 stimulus check, a new stimulus check for 2021. They're not giving you anything. Nada. They're not even giving you a penny. The Cash Act is a leftover bill from last year to fix last year's leftover check. It's not a stimulus check bill. It's a fix-it from last year. Now, it is $1,400. Let's make this very clear. You would get $1,400 as an individual, $3,200 as adult dependent. But that's not what you were promised. You were promised that plus a full stimulus check of $2,000. Even Chuck Schumer confirmed it in January. He said that the third stimulus package bill would have a stimulus check and the Cash Act. ALC said the same thing as well. And she was shocked when she saw this final bill and didn't have it in there. No bueno. FPUC, another big thing that needs to be modified. Now, in my heart of hearts, when I see these things, I really do think that FPUC is probably the most obvious thing that needs to get fixed. I have no idea why we're at $400 a week under Joe Biden. Uncle Joe had promised you $600 in his transition papers, wrote it over and over again, wrote in the transition $600 a week. Nancy wrote $600 a week in every bill she ever wrote in 2020. No Democrat ever wrote $400 a week. Republicans wrote $400 a week. I don't know why it would ever be $400 a week. And I don't hear a single Republican anytime since Joe has taken office say, you know what, I'm not supporting that bill with $600, but if it's $400, I'll do it. I don't hear this happening. So I have no idea why anyone just sort of came up with $400 out of the air. Don't make any sense. Let me answer some of your incredible 2,000 questions from yesterday's video, and they were great. If you have questions and comments in today's video, drop them in the comments below, and I might answer them as well. Speed in 622. This is exactly what I was afraid of. This is how Biden has always operated. Evelyn Potter. Too bad people can't be impeached for not keeping their promises they make when running for office and they don't keep. Janet Bauer. This is not good. Biden's not looking good so far. He needs to do something now with that stimulus checks. That's the change. I agree, Janet, and now he's not finally moving. Seth, 1949. Democrats promise everything while they campaign, but once they elect, they seem to always forget what they promise us, putting us off. Dayton Johnson. All cover for what they really want to do, getting better, ready. Francis Smith. This is absolutely no transparency, just like so many other administrations prior. Teresa Yelton. This reminds me of the child game. Ring around the rosy. Ring around the Pelosi pocket full of posers. Ashes and ashes, we fall down. Peace, love, never give up. Wow. Teresa Yelton killing it on that. Thank you for that great comment. And Strobridge. Biden is the donut guy. He got your vote. Now he's eating his donuts. That's hysterical. Oh my goodness. Laura Burns. Their candidates ran on the theory people need financial help. Now they won. They have amnesia of any stimulus. Heather Grimes. I love seeing the comments about Biden promises Chuck if we vote Democrat. Wake up. He hasn't done anything positive in the 47 years he's been in government, and you honestly thought he's going to start now? He literally laid off 11,000 people his first day. He doesn't care about you and me, but hey, he wants to send $4 billion to Mexico to help them, but not the American people. Stop watching MSNBC and do the research. It's always MSNBC. I don't know what's with the MSNBC. It's just not CNN. It's MSNBC specifically. Mike Robinson. Why would one only hide something for one reason? It's bad. That was a response to my question yesterday. Why were we not seeing the bill? And yeah, by the way, we still don't see the bill. Nancy has the bill. We just don't see the bill. Why do you think we don't see the bill? Drop in the comments below. I might feature on tomorrow's recording. Meantime, join me at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time with Mornings LALATE. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe. Come on now. It's free to subscribe. Who's doing this better for you than me and this family? We're a great group here. Also like this video, hit that alert button. And if you want to become a member, consider becoming a member. Get early access to PDFs to inform you how to get money before other people on the stimulus package. Get detailed explanations of how the stimulus items work. One by one, delineate for you, easy breezy, and more. Consider subscribing. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused. Have a great morning, and stay my life for more.